Feast your eyes upon this map. Here we have the territory of mainland Greece and, of course, the edge of Turkey. All of this is divided into smaller territories such as Arcadia, Messania, Laconia, and Attica. Over here we have the fortune deck, which includes all sorts of catastrophes and boons that might beset your polis, and also some of the unique unit cards that can only be put into play when you take the territory to which they belong. Here we have the territory cards, and here your regular unit cards. Over here we have the leader cards that you will use to associate with each of the leader figurines. And over here we have our grand navies, represented by triremes on the board. Each round of the game is called a turn, and each turn has 4 phases. A player will play through each of their 4 phases, and when they are done, it will be the other player's turn. The first phase is called the fortune phase, where you draw from the fortune deck and resolve consequences, if any. The strategic phase is the second phase, where you can move or negotiate diplomatically. The third is the tactical phase, where battles take place between forces. And finally, there is the ecclesia phase, where your empire is measured and experience weighed. And so we begin with the fortune phase. Go ahead, draw from the fortune deck. What do you get? Well, I've got cursed by the gods, calamity, flooding. Zeus has been angered. One city on the Halcyon River is destroyed, along with any land force in that city. Well, you can't play that yet, because no one has a land force in that area, and no one owns the territory.
So I can keep up to 7 cards in my hand without putting them in play that come from the leader deck or from the fortune deck. Noted.
As this is the first turn of the game, you must also draw your first leader from the leader deck. What do you get? I have Leonidas of Sparta, King and General. He has 2 abilities, Strategos and Delia, but he's also got a special ability. Yes, that's right. All of the leaders have 1 or 2 main abilities, and some even have special abilities that will give advantages in diplomacy and in battle. Which leader did you get again last turn? I got Archidamia of Sparta, a queen who has the abilities Orator and Defender. She's not as nearly suited to war as Leonidas, but she'll get very far as a diplomat. Movement is very simple. From where you are in Attica, you can only move on land to Boeotia or into Corinthum, both of which are adjacent to Attica and are 1 territory away. Later on in the game, when you own the intervening territories, you can actually leapfrog them, but that is an ability that comes with experience.
So I've read that going by sea is probably going to work much the same as going by land. So just a question of stepping off into the ocean?
So you want to go by sea, do you? For that, you would need a trireme, but more than that, you need to build your navy first. And building your navy requires certain cards from the fortune deck. Navies are an expensive business. Of course, there are alternatives to moving in the strategic phase. You can instead decide to use your leader to engage in diplomacy, which is to say to talk around the unallied or unconquered nations near you to join your league. This is the peaceful way of getting by. Now, Leonidas, unfortunately, is a strategos and a delayer. He's not really very good at talking people around. My leader, however, Archidamia of Sparta, is an orator and a defender. If I wanted her to move over here and take Arcadia, she would be having to use her oratory skill to overcome its cultural strength, which is 3. And that's simply done by rolling over 3 on a 1d6. Look at that. If this had been my turn, I'd have taken over Arcadia.
So if I want to do diplomacy, I need to find myself another leader. So if this guy's good for war, tell me how war works.
Well, going to war is as simple as moving into Boeotia and deciding I'm invading, and in the following phase we do our resolution of that combat.
So, let me tell you how combat works. Each of your generals starts with a very basic army consisting of 3 units. They are horses, archers, and hoplites. These are compared in battle in the following fashion, just like paper, scissors, and stone. So one general on this side would place down one of his cards, face down, and the general on the other side would place down one of his cards, and then you both reveal. Hoplites versus archers. In this case, archers beat hoplites. The hoplites just get to sit there and take the arrows, and they can't get to them without breaking formation. In this case, this general has won this battle, and this general suffers a setback.
A setback, eh? How many of these setbacks can each side take?
Well, I'm glad you asked. The number of setbacks that can be sustained depends on whether we're having a set-piece battle or fighting against a neutral defender. If we're fighting against a neutral defender, well, the number of setbacks they can suffer depends on their military strength. Boeotia, for instance, has a military strength of 3, so it can suffer 3 setbacks. You, of course, as a basic level leader, can suffer only 1 setback, but because you have a strategos, which is a general, you start with 2 setbacks that you can suffer. We start the battle by setting our battle counter in the middle, in the neutral territory between both armies. And then we do our paper, scissors, stone with our units to see who wins. Now, to defeat Boeotia, you would need to have them have 3 setbacks in a row. Whereas for you to be defeated, well, in your case, you need to have 2 setbacks in a row. Of course, during the course of the battle counter may wander backwards and forwards. Once it gets to the end, the battle is over.
Yes, the battle is over, and hopefully I've won. And then I picked up a territory, which is excellent. And that comes to the end of the tactical phase for me, as I understand it. And after that, I have the ecclesia phase, where I get to look at my polis and see how much experience I've accrued. And if I've got enough, I get to pick a reward from either the warfare or the cultural experience level charts. And if my league has grown large enough, I get to add another leader to my stable, as it were, and send them off on quests to take over, co-opt, or eventually go to see the Oracle of Delphi, right? So, my good friends, now you understand how movement, combat, and diplomacy takes place. Do you have any other questions? Well, I do, but I'm sure they'll be answered by playing. I think we're done here. So nice of you to drop around. Well, if that is all, then I say to you, Kaire Pula, my friend.